So what we're going to look at now is we're going to compare and contrast fables with fairy tales. Now, I do have to tell you something. I told you at the very beginning that The Gnat and the Lion was a fairy tale. I kind of lied. It has elements of a fairy tale, but it's actually something that we instead call a fable. And so a fable is a purpose where the main purpose is to tell a moral or a lesson. Where a fairy tale, there might be a lesson in there, but its main purpose is for entertainment. But they have pretty much the same traits and characteristics. So, with that little thing out of the way, let's get started. So, think about those two, The Gnat and the Lion and Snow White meets the Huntsman. And although these are two different genres, because one's a fairy tale, one's a fable, we can still compare and contrast features such as characters and theme. Now, remember, theme is kind of like the lesson or the moral of the story. So we're going to use this graphic organizer to help us organize our thoughts. So let's think about the lion from The Gnat and the Lion. He's extremely angry with the gnat because paragraph 3, sentence 2 said, "This made the lion mad with rage, so he struck fiercely at the gnat. The lion is so mad that he wants to harm the gnat." In the same way, the queen from Snow White meets the Huntsman is so angry that she wants to kill Snow White. However, she expects someone else to carry the murder out. In paragraph 17, she tells the huntsman to kill Snow White in the woods. I think that the queen is evil. So, we just kind of compared those two characters. Compare the lion and the queen. We talked about how they are similar because they're both kind of grumpy, they're both kind of mad. But the queen's different because she wants someone else to carry out the murder. So that's how they're different. Now, think about what a theme is. A theme is that lesson that we're trying to learn from a story. So let's think about how the theme and the Gnat and the Lion might relate to the others. But first, let's identify what the theme is. So, one theme in The Gnat and the Lion is that the conflict between a strong character, the lion, and the weak character, the gnat. Even though he is weak and small, the gnat is able to escape from the lion when he buzzes away. We see that his pride gets him in trouble though, because as the second sentence of paragraph 4 says, instead he flew straight into a spider's web. Similarly, in Snow White meets the Huntsman, a weak character, being Snow White, is able to escape the rage of a stronger character, the queen, who wants to kill her. Unlike the gnat though, Snow White has an innocent heart, as it says in paragraph 18. As a result, she helps from someone, the huntsman, who feels bad for her. So let's now head on down. I'm going to fill this out. I'm going to think now about the gnats. So I'm going to put in The Gnat and the Lion, I'm going to put some thoughts or ideas in. So this is what I have. For the gnat. The gnat, he antagonizes or he annoys the lion. And he's proud and overconfident, but he meets his demise. So these are my character traits for the gnat. Now let's look at our character traits for the lion. The lion, he's mad, he's violent, and he gets defeated by the gnat, and he gives up. So let's add that in our part right here. Now let's think about the characters from Snow White meets the Huntsman. There's quite a bit in there. We have the magic mirror, and the magic mirror speaks truth about the fairest of the land. There's the evil queen who's vain and jealous of Snow White and Snow White's beauty, and she's full of hatred. There's a huntsman who follows the queen's order but can't harm Snow White because he has that, remember that simile? He has that weight being lifted off because he doesn't really want to do it. And there's Snow White, who's beautiful, innocent, she really wants to live, she's desperate to live, and she escapes into the woods. So I have right there some traits for each of them. So I'm just going to mark those down. And then after we fill this out, we're going to highlight some of the traits that are similar between them. So let me, there we go. So now let's think of the themes. So remember, we already talked about the theme of The Gnat and the Lion, where there's a conflict between a strong character and a weak character. And that was also our theme for what? It was also our theme in Snow White and the Huntsman. There's a conflict, or there's a problem between the strong character and the weak character. Our weak character is prideful and ends up in trouble. Ah, but that was the opposite of our other one. Our strong character was prideful in Snow White and the Huntsman. So now let's think about our theme for Snow White. The conflict was also between a strong character and a weak character. Ah, so that means it's the same. But what was different about it? What was different was our weak character was innocent this time. He wasn't prideful, or she wasn't prideful like our fly was, and she receives help to escape. So let's look at how these are similar. They're similar because they have the same conflict. There's a conflict between a strong character and a weak character. What's similar up here? Well, what's similar is that the lion, he's mad and violent. And what's similar about the evil queen? Well, she's kind of evil and violent, so I can put that in here as well. She's violent as well. She wants to murder someone. So I'm going to put murderous, which was also our lion too. Remember, it might not seem like murder, but he's trying to whack that fly, which what's going to happen if he whacks it? He's going to kill it. So those are some traits that are similar. Now what's different between our characters? Well, we can compare the gnat to the evil queen because they were both proud. They were both overconfident they could accomplish their goals. We can compare the gnat to Snow White and see how they are different because Snow White was innocent, but the gnat was not because he was prideful, he was bragging. So there's a whole bunch of things in here that are similar and a whole bunch of things that are different. So there's no writing today for us, but I want you to think about this because we're going to be using this when we do our fairy tales of what might be the theme of that fairy tale. What might be the lesson or the main purpose that we're trying to resolve with this? It shouldn't just be that the giant's hungry and he ate someone and now he's not. But it might be something like the theme with the gnat of if you're prideful, you might get yourself into trouble. Because remember, that gnat was prideful and at the end he got eaten by that spider. So think about it. What might your theme be for your fairy tale story?